So a quick agenda, what are we going to cover today? So we'll talk about what is Amazon Brand Registry? How does it help your business? What does it do? We'll talk about trademarks and copyright specifically, what those are and how you can use them to protect your brand on Amazon. We'll talk about examples of trademark and copyright infringement and how you can report those. Talk about brand registry enrollment. How can you enroll your brand in Amazon Brand Registry? Talk about using the main feature in Brand Registry called Report a Violation. I'll actually take you step by step on how to submit a copyright or trademark complaint in Brand Registry. And then we'll talk about how you can leverage the brand support team to get action taking on issues with your brand, even outside of copyright and trademark infringement. So let's dive right in. Let's cover what Amazon Brand Registry helps you do. Well, first of all, it helps you protect your registered trademarks on Amazon and copyrights as well, and also creates an accurate and trusted experience for customers. And so what does that mean? Well, let's talk about it a little bit. So as brand owners, as sellers on Amazon, there should be products that you have trademarked for your brand name. Through Brand Registry, we give you the ability to search for potential copyright and trademark issues on Amazon, and in turn allow you to report those to Amazon. Once you've reported those through Brand Registry, we'll review the complaints, see if it truly is copyright or counterfeit infringement or copyright infringement as well. And from there, take action. An example of action that we might take is updating a product listing, removing a third-party seller if they have a history of selling counterfeit product. All of those would be valid responses that Amazon would take through Brand Registry. Quick show of hands, how many of you are enrolled in Brand Registry? Fantastic. Great to see as many of you are enrolled in Brand Registry already today. And then secondly, I wanted to ask you guys, how many of you have experienced product listing issues, meaning an issue where a title or a description is not accurate for your products? Fantastic. And so let's get to that right now. Amazon Brand Registry allows you to create an accurate and trusted customer experience by giving you content control over your brand. And so the brands that you're bringing into Brand Registry that are trademarked, we give you the ability to override any other content from other third-party sellers. The only thing that it doesn't override right now is Amazon retail content, but I'm working diligently to change that in 2018 because I see that as a big question from a lot of brands. Getting a couple of applauses, so definitely something that we've seen before. So definitely looking forward to changing that for you. When I say override content, that's important to understand as well. What override means is that if a third-party seller has submitted 4 bullet points, or you as a trademark owner has submitted 4 bullet points, and then somebody else adds a 5th, meaning that that product would be, that content itself would be accepted, that 5th trademark, or that 5th bullet point, sorry. So what that means for you as a brand owner is that every time you're creating a listing under your brand, fill out every single portion of your detail page, because that will prevent any content getting onto your listings that shouldn't be there in the first place. So that's how we create an accurate and trusted customer experience. Looking forward to showing you how that works later in the show. Let's talk a little bit about a progress report. I'm excited to tell you that we are launched in May of last year. We're a little over a year old, been making a lot of improvements in the product since then. We have 12 marketplaces that we're currently active in, and so if you're selling in the UK or Italy, we also have Brand Registry there. Check out our marketing website to learn about all the marketplaces that we currently support. We have a global team of investigators available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there to help you act on trademark and copyright infringements, as well as help you with other brand issues that you may be experiencing. And then today we have more than 60,000 brands that have already enrolled in Brand Registry. And so it's been widely popular with you as brand owners and as sellers. And so we're excited to expand on the product over the next couple of years. Several of you probably started out in beta, have probably noticed that we've added some features as well. So excited to see where we'll be taking this product over the next couple of years. Thanks for being a part of it already for those of you that are. So let's talk about trademarks a little bit, and specifically let's talk about the trademarks that are accepted to enroll in Amazon Brand Registry. The important portion of that sentence is enroll. So first of all, we required an active registered word mark in order to enroll in Amazon Brand Registry, or we required an active registered figurative mark with words, letters, or numbers to enroll. An example of what I mean is over here on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll notice that there's a text-based mark of just Amazon. That is a word mark. And then over on the right-hand side is an image-based mark with words, letters, or numbers, which we call a figurative mark with the words, letters, or numbers. In order to enroll, you would need one of those. If it was just the Amazon smile by itself without the words or lettering, we would not allow you to enroll in Brand Registry as it stands today. I'm excited to say that we're looking to change that and looking to change our registration pipeline to allow more types, but this is how it stands today. So an example of a type of trademark that might not allow you to enroll in Amazon Brand Registry would be a service trademark, a pending trademark, a supplemental mark, or if it was just the smile, or what we call just a figurative without the words. It is important to know, though, once you enroll in Amazon Brand Registry with one of those types, you can add these additional service or trademark types to your brand registry account, and in turn take action on those trademarks as well. And so once you're enrolled, you could add a figurative mark just by itself, and we would allow you to search for that trademark and enforce accordingly. If you want to learn more about the types of trademarks that you should be paying attention to, go to brandservices.amazon.com, check out our eligibility requirements tab. We'll give you a clear indication on what type of trademarks you need. And then just for general information about trademarks, highly recommend going and checking out government agency websites that actually provide the trademarks themselves. In the US, that would be the USPTO. Just go to uspto.gov to learn a little bit more about how trademarks can help you protect your brand. So now that we've kind of given you an idea of what trademarks are, let's talk about trademark infringement and what it would mean on Amazon. So trademark law protects sellers of goods and services from customer confusion about who provides, endorses, or is affiliated with a particular good or service. A trademark owner might be able to stop others from using their particular mark or a confusingly similar mark if using the mark is likely to cause customer confusion. So let's pop open an example here. Pins On by Amazon is a brand sold by Amazon. An example of trademark infringement would somebody be taking this brand name. As you can see, there's no green color right now. But they'd create a separate listing that would say Pins On by Amazon, and they're selling a green color, right? We, as Pins On, know we don't sell our green color. That's an example of trademark infringement of them using their brand to try and drive customer action of purchasing that product. So whenever you think about trademark infringement, what you should associate it to is brands. Trademarks equals brands. And so anytime you're thinking about seeing a situation with counterfeit, counterfeit is another example of trademark infringement. So that's what you would be classifying those in brand registry. But now let's talk about copyright. So copyright is a little bit different. When you're talking about copyright, that's associated to images, not the brand name themselves. There's a lot of you in the audience today that spend a lot of time and money with getting great quality product photos that you're using to list on Amazon. If somebody's taking your photos, listing them under a different brand name, selling a similar product, that would be an example of copyright infringement that you'd be able to enforce through brand registry. So again, trademarks, think brands, copyrights, think images. If you're looking to learn more about more of these situations, go into Seller Central and search for our intellectual policy page. There's a great little detailed description of examples of copyright and trademark complaints and infringement. That would be just a great way to educate yourselves on what this looks like on Amazon. And again, check out the USPTO website as well to learn more about copyright and trademark infringement. Some of you might be saying, Brian, you just said that Brand Registry launched in May of last year. What the heck? I was already enrolled in Brand Registry prior to that. What's going on? Well, we relaunched Brand Registry in May of last year to provide features that are not available in the old Brand Registry, mainly around the ability for you to report copyright and trademark infringement. So it's important for you to understand if you were in the old brand registry, we do not auto-enroll you into the new brand registry. You do need to go re-enroll with that active trademark that meets our requirements in order to unlock the features that I've been talking about up to this point. Again, check out the eligibility page to learn more about those trademark types that we do accept to make sure you qualify. A couple things that I want to call out is the old brand registry was mostly used by you in the audience as a UPC exemption tool more than anything else. You do not need brand registry to get UPC exemption. There are other ways to get UPC exemption. So if you're using brand registry for UPC exemption, I recommend going into Seller Central, go to the help topic around UPC exemption, and request UPC exemption through that portal as well. So if you do lose brand registry, which we are considering deprecating the old brand registry, you would at least still have that feature and functionality through UPC exemption in Seller Central. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about why you should enroll in Amazon Brand Registry. We already touched on a couple of them, but let's get into it a little bit deeper. The first point that we see here is called predictive automation. And so this is why I joined Amazon Brand Registry. This is what gets me excited about what Amazon's doing to prevent counterfeits and trademark and copyright infringement. And so what we're using is machine learning and algorithms based on content that you provide us to make decisions on where we'll limit the offers or ASINs being added to Amazon based on the information you provide to us. An example of that would be during the registration pipeline, we'll ask you, where do you manufacture? Where do you distribute product? If you tell me you only manufacture and distribute in the US, but then somebody from France is trying to add your product onto the US platform, that's an example where we could use predictive automation to block that listing from going live on the Amazon.com marketplace in the first place, right? And so we want to get out of this situation where we call like a whack-a-mole situation, right? Where you got people that are popping up constantly trying to infringe on your trademarks. Through these automations and through machine learning, we plan on trying to even stop that from happening in the first place. What I'm most excited about is here in the next coming months, we're going to be releasing a new dashboard that will show you how many ASINs we prevented from going live on Amazon. So today it's already happening in Brand Registry, we just don't have a way to show you. I'm excited to be able to show you how much we're doing on behalf of you while you're sleeping at night. The next thing I want to talk about is proprietary text and image search, or what we call the Report a Violation tool, or RAV for short as well. Report a Violation allows you to go and identify potential copyright and trademark infringements that are occurring on Amazon, and in turn, report it to Amazon. And so what will happen through Report a Violation is you'll put in an ASIN title, an ASIN itself, a description, or even upload an image to identify copyright infringement. And from there, be able to select at the image level, at the ASIN level, or even all the way down to the offer level where that trademark or copyright infringement is occurring. From there, we ask you for some basic information about why you believe it's trademark or copyright infringement, and evaluate the case. Once that case is reviewed, a necessary action or an action that we could take would be updating product content, meaning removing that image that was copyright infringing, or updating a title that was infringing on your trademark, or even a suspension of a third-party seller if that situation was needed associated to counterfeit purchases. So Report a Violation is the main tool that we have available in Brand Registry today. I'm looking forward in a couple slides from here to be able to show you how to use that tool correctly to make sure that you're reporting trademark and copyright infringement to get results. Then the last thing is something we already talked about, right? Which is Brand Registry allows you to have increased authority over your product listings through something we call reconciliation scores. Some of you might have heard that before. Essentially what that means is when you enroll in Brand Registry and you connect it to your third-party selling accounts, we give you a higher reconciliation score than any other seller that's currently selling that product on Amazon. And so anything that you submit, meaning titles, descriptions, bullet points, images, should override anybody else with a lower reconciliation score. Again, Amazon Retail is not something we override, but we do have paths for you to fix that, and we're looking to change that long term in the coming months as well. So those are the main reasons why I think you should enroll in Amazon Brand Registry. They're great features, and as I said before, we're looking just to expand on these, especially around the predictive automation side. And we'll need your help during that process as well. So in Brand Registry, there'll be sometimes we're asking you questions about, can you give us our product listings? Can you tell us where you manufacture and distribute the products? That's all associated to us trying to build the machine learning and build the algorithms to protect you long term. Let's quickly cover how you can get started to be in Amazon Brand Registry. There's a couple of steps. Just visit brandservices.amazon.com. That's our marketing website. If you haven't been there in a while, please go check it out. We relaunched a new website last month. Way more exciting stuff that we have on there than we did before. Once you do that, you need to sign into Amazon Brand Registry. So visit brandregistry.amazon.com. Up in the top right-hand corner, there'll be a sign-in. So the important thing for you to understand as sellers is that Brand Registry is separate from your Seller Central account. Before you go and sign into Brand Registry, we typically recommend sign out of your Seller Central account just to make sure there's not any issues with your sign-in process. For you as sellers, the important thing for you to do as well is use the same email address that you use to sign into your Seller Central account to register for Brand Registry. In order to get that content control for your selling account, that's how we make the connection, is at the email level. Now, if you're in the crowd now and you're saying, I already registered and I don't have that email associated to it, don't worry about that. We do have a way for you to add a user to your Brand Registry account to invite that person and that email address into your Brand Registry account and therefore get the features from there. Once you've taken that step to review requirements, you've now gone through the process of signing into Brand Registry, the next step is enrolling your brand. And the enrolling your brand process is a little bit of a process. I'm not going to lie about it. It's going to take you anywhere from 1 to 3 days to get a brand enrolled. But that's on purpose. we want to make sure that we're only bringing in the actual rights owners themselves into brand registry. We don't want any bad actors being able to take control of your brand. And so there's a couple steps involved in the enrollment process that kind of cause some friction, but they're necessary. An example of that is as you're enrolling a brand, we ask you for the trademark number that is associated with the brand you want to enroll. Every trademark that's filed with a government agency has a correspondent that's listed on your actual USPTO trademark itself or whatever government agency you're using. We send a verification code to that correspondent that you then, as the brand owner, need to go receive from that correspondent. Once you receive that from the correspondent, you can go into brand registry, put it into your case log, and that's how you complete the registration process. That steps allows us to have the attorney or the correspondent themselves kind of give the thumbs up that the person that's contacting them is actually affiliated with this brand and should be enrolled in brand registry as the rights owner. So definitely a little bit of a process, but necessary to make sure we get the right people into brand registry. So let's talk a little bit more about what you do need to enroll. In order to enroll, currently you need types 1, 3, 4, or 5 trademarks. What that gets back to is what we talked about at the beginning, which was it needs to be a text-based mark or an image-based mark with words, letters, or numbers in order to enroll. Check out the USPTO website to get more information on 1, 3, 4, and 5 trademark types. Secondly, through the enrollment process, we'll also ask you for images of your brand's logo, countries where the products are manufactured and distributed. We may ask you for products packaging and the actual brand name on the product itself. Could be questions we ask. And then last but not least, the product categories that the brand should be listed under. Again, all this information is here to help us start to create those proactive brand protections for you to make sure that we can build the automation that we need to protect your brand before it even becomes an issue. We are constantly innovating our registration pipeline and on brand registry itself. I can say excitingly as well that we're looking to remove that image of product packaging requirement within the coming weeks. So if you don't see that in your enrollment process, don't freak out. That's just us trying to make things easier for you. All right, quickly wanted to touch on another way that you can report copyright and trademark infringement. So Amazon Brand Registry is not the only way that you can report copyright and trademark infringement. We do have another way for you to do it through the notice form. So you just go to Google, type in trademark infringement on Amazon. This will be the first page that shows up. You can go through this tool and report copyright and trademark infringement as well, but there's a couple of caveats that I want to just touch on about this form itself. First of all, it doesn't do any automated protections. So if you're not doing brand registry, meaning you're going through the notice form, we're not jump-starting those protections that I've been telling you are fantastic and the best way to protect your brand long-term. It also doesn't scale as well as brand registry does. Through the report a violation tool, we allow you to do searches in mass, which allows you to quickly select where the infringement is occurring rather than reporting one-offs, which is more how the notice form works today. If you're wondering what I was talking about once you get to this notice form, well, we do have a reminder up top that brand registry is something you should consider enrolling in rather than using this form. So you might see that if you get to this page. Great, so now this is what I wanted to show you is the next couple slides is actually the report a violation tool. So the tool that we allow you to search for ASINs, product titles, descriptions, or images themselves to report the copyright and trademark infringement that you're seeing on Amazon. And so some of you might be seeing this and saying, hey, this looks a lot like Seller Central, looks like the same kind of UI. It's on purpose. We built on top of the Seller Central platform, so a lot of the navigation will look similar to what you're used to. Hopefully that helps you guys get adjusted to brand registry. Over in the top left-hand corner, you're going to be able to see the registered brands, meaning the brands that have completed enrollment, gone through the entire process, and are now active and live in brand registry. There'll be a couple other steps that you might see. An example here is not yet enrolled, so meaning maybe you applied, we just haven't actually completed enrollment yet. So if you're looking for your list of brands that are truly enrolled in brand registry, the best place to check is by going into brand registry and looking at the registered brands that are in the top left corner. Right here in the middle of the page, there's a couple key components that I want to point out. The first one being report a violation, and then brand registry supports, as well as prevent a violation. Just want to quickly touch on prevent a violation. That's where you would add that content for jump-starting the automated protections, and where we'll ask you for your countries of distribution, or even information about your product listings overall. Brand registry support we'll get into at a later slide, so let's dive into report a violation and actually show you what the tool looks like and how you should be using it. So this is the first page of report a violation. As you can see in the search box, you have the opportunity to put in a product name, an ASIN, a brand name, or keywords. You can add up to 100 at a time, comma separated, if you wanted to look for things in bulk. Also, the image option is right there below. You just got to upload a JPEG format image to be able to search for those copyright infringements that might be occurring on Amazon. I've had a lot of brands give great feedback that the image option has been a great relief for them to be able to identify copyright infringement at scale that they didn't previously have. So I strongly encourage you to try that out once you get enrolled in Brand Registry. Once you've provided the brand name or product name or ASIN name, the next thing that you're going to have pop up is our search results page. So in this case, in this example, I'm showing an example of a search for Amazon Echo. And you'll see here that it's now pulled up the ASIN itself over on the left-hand side. We have the images as well, where I would be able to select one by one those images that I think are copyright infringing. And then you also have the option to look at the offer level. And so if there was 10 offers on this Echo, you'd be able to see each individual seller that was on that offer and be able to action them down to the offer level. Up in the top right-hand corner, you see select issue type. Again, if you're looking at copyright infringement, that's typically associated to images. And so if I was looking to enforce copyright infringement, I'd select a specific image that is copyright infringing. And then from that top right corner drop down, I'd select copyright infringement. If it was trademark infringement, that's typically going to be associated to the offer itself, where you'd be able to go in and say, this particular seller is selling counterfeit product. That's the one that I want to submit. One thing that I want to point out is it is super important for you to be accurate in your submissions. So when you're going through and you're selecting the images that you want to have removed for copyright infringement, make sure they're truly the only ones that are copyright infringement. If you're looking at reporting the counterfeit or trademark issue, make sure you're selecting the specific sellers that are actually going through the trademark process. The reason why that is important is we evaluate each one of those submissions individually. And so if you selected 3 sellers that were trademark infringing through this tool, our support teams would receive 3 separate cases that they're individually looking at. And if we identify that you're submitting cases that are not truly accurate, we'll look to coach you, but just be aware that there could potentially some ramifications if you're not reporting correctly. So be super accurate as you're going through this step. Once you've gone past this page and actually selected the actual offer or image and selected the type of infringement that's occurring, we'll go through a couple more steps that will ask you, why is this copyright infringement? Why is this trademark infringement? Or we'll ask for the trademark number that is associated to this trademark or copyright infringement. So just a couple pieces of information that help us build the case to enforce, right? So remember that everything submitted through RAV is going to a support team from Brand Registry. So they have a history of knowing what trademark and copyright infringement looks like, but you need to make sure you're doing it accurately. At this point, I'd also like to tell you what Brand Registry does not do. At this point, we do not enforce MAP policy. We do not enforce unauthorized distribution. And so an example of something that you might include in your description that might throw us off from taking action is saying the seller is unauthorized, right? You want to be very clear that if it's trademark infringement, that all you would say is this is trademark infringement for this reason. Example again would be I only sell this in yellow, but now somebody's selling it in green. This is clearly counterfeit. The description that you use does not need to be 10 pages long. Actually, the better you can be with being precise and accurate is where you'll see the better return rates for actually seeing action from Amazon overall. Once you've completed that process, Amazon is then responsible and accountable to you as the seller and the brand owner on taking action on that submission. And so we do have a feature in RAV now that's called Submission History, where you can actually see the status of your submissions, where they're at in the Brand Registry process, meaning have they been picked up? Are they actually being worked on by a Brand Registry support team? Typically what we're seeing from our side of the business is that we're actioning within 8 hours of your submissions, which is a lot faster than what we used to be, right? So if you don't see answers within 8 hours, I strongly recommend going into the submission history and looking at what the status of that is, and then escalating if you need to, and I'll show you how to escalate here in a couple slides. You'll see over here on the left-hand side, we'll give you a complaint ID that is relevant to all the submissions that you make. Again, if you're submitting multiple at a time, meaning multiple offers or multiple images, each one of those could get a separate complaint ID because our team is evaluating them down to that level. So don't be surprised if you submit 10 sellers that you have 10 different complaint IDs that we'll be actioning on. So again, Amazon is accountable for this, right? So we want to make sure that we're holding a high bar, but it's still actioning on the items that are relevant and need to be changed on the platform. So that was a report a violation tool. Let's talk a little bit more now about the brand support segments. And so I've been at the booth all day talking to a lot of you about what brand registry can do outside of copyright and trademark infringement complaints. Once you click on brand support from that main page that I showed you 2 slides ago, you're going to see this pop up, which is going to give you some reason codes that you can select from to submit issues outside of trademark or copyright infringement. So a couple ones that I wanted to point out here. The first one is report a violation. Under that tab, there's other options outside of just report a violation itself. One example of that is not as described. So how many of you have submitted something in the past as not as described to Amazon? Anybody? Quick show of hands. All right, so this is something that I really want you guys to start paying attention to, is not as described, because there could be situations where a brand is not actually infringing on your copyright or trademark, but creating a bad customer experience for you. And what I mean by that is that they're saying they're selling one type of product that has a particular type of packaging in it, and then the customer is actually receiving a product that has a completely different packaging, completely different instructions that are in there, right? It's not necessarily trademark infringement because it could be authentic product, but from a customer experience perspective, it's not as described, meaning that they're not getting something as they expected once it arrives at their location. So don't be afraid to use the not as described if it's not fitting into the copyright or trademark files. Go and look at the support team support case in brand registry and see how it can help you out. A couple other key points to point out on this page. There's an option to retract a violation. So if you do a submission for trademark infringement where you've selected a seller, some of you might have received these before, Amazon will actually email that seller and say you've been notified that you are trademark or copyright infringing on this particular ASIN. At that point, you may be contacted by that brand or that seller specifically saying, hey, you know who I am, you know I'm not selling counterfeit product, it seems like you made a mistake during the process. Through retract a violation, you can go into brand registry and remove that complaint that you made against them in order to allow them to be able to sell the product again. Update your brand profile is an important customer brand support as well. You can click on that. There'll be a couple different options within the dropdown. The first option will be adding users. So how many of you use legal entities to submit trademarks for you or act on your behalf on Amazon? Quick show of hands. Great. And so through brand registry, you'd be able to go and add those entities by adding them as a user to your account. If you didn't create your brand registry account with that third-party seller central account that you are using, this is also how you can make that connection to brand registry and your third-party selling account. Simply go into update your brand profile, select add a user, and then add that email address to brand registry so we can make that connection. There are different role types that you'll be able to select. The most important one to use for third-party entities is a type called registered agent. We'll give you definitions of the 3 types on this page, so just pay attention to those as you're adding users to your account. And then the last thing I want to point out on the brand support side as well is at the very bottom, it's saying escalate previously submitted issue. So if you run into a situation where you've submitted something to Amazon, maybe they say they won't action upon it, but you believe that you truly have a situation that should be enforced. This is where you would go to escalate that case to be reviewed by an escalation team within brand registry to be able to review the response that we originally gave to you and determine was that accurate or is it something we need to readdress. So a great way for you to get attention to any listing issues that you might be experiencing through there as well. A listing issue dropdown is also something we should discuss. The listing issue dropdown allows you to actually update content, including overriding Amazon retail content using this support team. And so if you wanted to update a title that was currently being associated to an Amazon retail contribution, just simply go into listing issues, and then you'll be able to submit the titles that you want to have changed, and in turn we can override it. It doesn't scale the way that we like it to, meaning that we love to have that ability for you to submit it through Seller Central. But as it goes today, the best option that we have for you is within the listing issue option in our brand support teams. So I strongly recommend once you're enrolled, go check out every single reason code over on the left-hand side to see how it could be relevant for your business to make sure your brand is accurately represented on Amazon. A couple points that I want to leave you with before I go into questions is that as a result of proactive and preventative systems that we've put in place through brand registry, 99% of all Amazon page views by our customers landed on pages that did not receive a notice of infringement anymore. And so what we've been doing in brand registry has really been changing the customer experience and helping you as sellers to make sure that we're not seeing infringement anymore on your ASINs. And then the second thing that I'm proud to talk about, which I briefly mentioned before, is that Amazon now investigates and takes action on more than 95% of all notices of potential infringement received from brands in Brand Registry within 8 hours. So we can take a submission from you, and more than 95% of the time, we're going to make sure that within 8 hours you have a response. Now that response could be no, but I'm hoping that there'll be yes now that you guys have a little bit more background on how to submit issues to Amazon and get them actioned appropriately.